What you love affects your entire well-being. Now, here's what I learned today. Today's lesson is all about what we love and how we love it. I really like this message because reading it really spoke to me. But let's start out with first, the main point. Rejoice. The Lord who has redeemed you is worthy of your love and worship. Surely you should celebrate the pleasures and comforts that God puts in your life, but if you love them, you will soon be addicted. Human beings' lives is designed to be a quest to be loved and to find something to love. This means that whatever commands the love of your heart also shapes the direction of your life. You are a worshiper. A desire for a good thing becomes a bad thing when the desire becomes a ruling kind. Basically, what it's saying here is what we put our heart in, that's really what's going to shape our lives. It talks about this thing, you will soon be addicted. Addiction inherently has a bad rap. It has a bad rap because when you think addicted, what do you think of? Probably alcohol, probably drugs, probably social media, which social media is not inherently a bad thing, but being addicted to it is a terrible thing, as we all know. That's where my thing comes in. Even today, I find myself only being so addicted to the screen, watching something at all times, that it makes every other area of my life so difficult to a point where it's even failing. This is an issue because I know that I'm wasting time, and we only have a very little amount of time. We don't have a lot to go off of. So when we waste that time searching and addicting and being drawn to these other things that aren't for us, they steal away the very thing that we can never get back. If money gets taken from you, you can go get a job, you can go get a loan, you can get that money back. But time, if somebody steals that time for you, if you steal that time from yourself, you can never, ever get that back. But the great thing about this is being addicted can also be a good thing if you're addicted to the right things. But what are the right things to be addicted to? Well, the Bible tells us what are the right things to be addicted to. Spreading love, spreading joy, spending kindness. All these things. These are great things to be addicted to. But again, there does come a point where it turns bad. If we do all those things just for people to love us, then we become people pleasers and we ruin our lives. Because as soon as that person's done with us, they're going to leave us, which is going to hurt. But then not only them leaving hurts, but now it creates a hole where we need to fill it. So what are you going to fill it with? Another thing, another person to please. And the cycle just keeps spinning. And that leads to very dangerous paths that can not only ruin your life, but your loved ones' lives, because you yourself are going to sabotage your relationships with all of them just because you want to please this one person. Or maybe it's a multitude of people and you just destroy everything. Every single little connection you have gets burned because you did this for this person, but this person didn't like it, but you're doing this for this person, so on and so forth. Here's how we combat this. Here's how we stay away from these things. Because I love what it says here. It tells us to go to Romans 1:22 through 25. And that, I read it, and it's convicting for sure. It says, "They claimed to be wise, but they made fools of themselves. They would rather have statues of gods than the glorious God who lives forever. Their statues of gods are made to look like people, birds, animals, and reptiles. So God let them go. He allowed them to do what their sinful hearts wanted to do. He let them commit sexual sins. They polluted one another's bodies by what they did. They chose to lie instead of God's truth. They worshipped and served created things. They didn't worship the Creator, but He must be praised forever." Amen. Goes on to say 26, 27, and 28 just 10:29. It just keeps going to say like these things that these people were doing that were wrong, that were grotesque, that were completely twisted. But again and again, it says God allowed them to. God's never going to completely, he's going to tell us, hey, don't do that, but he's not going to stop us. That's the whole point. It's a relationship. It's free will, but he's putting and entrusting us to, when he says, hey, don't do this, for us to obey him. I know personally, he's told me multiple times through other people, hey, don't do it, but I make an excuse that he didn't tell me himself, and I went and did it anyways, and it's cost me major pain and cost me to put myself in very dangerous situations. Now again, how do we stop the worship of created things and start worshiping the Creator? Not his gifts, but the giver, which is something it said in here, which this line, it hits me on a different place. It says, it says, if you love the gifts and not the giver, your heart will never be satisfied. However, if you love the giver, your heart will be content and you will be able to enjoy his gifts while keeping them in their proper place. For me, how I relate this to my life is I had a girlfriend one time, and she would get me these gifts and I would get her gifts, and she wouldn't like the gifts that she got me as much when she saw her gifts, because I sometimes got her expensive things, and she was like, well, I don't like it because it didn't cost as much. And I was like, that doesn't matter. I don't care what it is, because I love you. That's why I'm gonna love whatever you give me. Even if I don't ever use it, it will always be with me, which is true. Because even one time she got me something as simple as an orange juice, and I didn't drink orange juice. I didn't like orange juice at that time, but I never told her that. And that orange juice was always by my bedside. Every single morning that I woke up, I looked at it and I thought of her. It was a generous gift, but it wasn't the gift that was so generous. It was my love for my girlfriend at the time. That's how I think of, okay, well, here's the Lord and he's giving me this and this. I don't need to love this. I need to love him for the blessings he's given me. Love him for what he's done, not love what he's done. Like, I need to love him because he healed me, not, love the healing and be like, all right, thanks God. It's not a relationship. That's a transaction. And if you've ever been in a situation like that, no one likes that. It's not fun. But we come here and it says, stand in the Spirit. If you are reveled for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests on you. 1 Peter 4:14. It then goes on to say it goes to go through the story of Peter. Now, Peter, and very specifically Peter before the cross, Peter during the cross is happening, and Peter after the cross. Now, it says here, the night of the Lord's Last Supper, Peter told Jesus, Lord, with you I am ready to go both to prison and to death. Now, that didn't even come close. When Jesus went out to pray, Peter couldn't even stay awake. And when Jesus was getting arrested and then walking to where he was going to go to trial, Peter denied him 3 different times. Now, this made Peter so emotional that he didn't even consider himself a disciple anymore. But it then says after, in the book of Acts, Peter was completely transformed because God's Spirit was alive within him, empowering him to stand firm. In other words, he could hold on to God because the Lord held on to him. So they were saying Peter's power wasn't Peter's power. Peter's power and his strength and his boldness and his courage was the Spirit that was inside of him. Now, what I thought was interesting about that story it said that Jesus didn't have Peter to intercede for him while he was praying. I found that really interesting. Why would Jesus, the Son of God, need someone to help him intercede with his own dad? But then it brought up just the fact of, it wasn't that he needed the help. It's just that you need multiple people in your inner circle to keep you afloat. Even Jesus needed his 12 disciples. Now, I'm sure he didn't need in the way that we think of needing, as in, I need to breathe, I need to eat, because if you don't, you'll literally just die. But what I think it's saying is how we keep ourselves out of this love for the created things is by having others who can help us out, and by standing in the Spirit and listening. But when we don't listen, because all of our spirits are connected. So our spirit is going to talk to your friend's spirit. That's why when you randomly get those texts, when you're feeling really hurt, and they're just like, hey man, how are you? That's the spirits connecting. That's why you are on their mind. And if we allow ourselves to have people like that around us, now granted, it is hard to find those people and real people who will do that, but they're out there. You better look for them, because they will hold you up. And that is how you survive. That's how you get through these things. That's how you learn, and that's how you grow. So if you struggle just like me with loving the created things, reach out to a friend. Ask God for the power of the Spirit. Be with God. Stand in your spirit and stand with your brothers or sisters. Thank you so much for watching. We're lifelong learners. We're learning every day. This has been Jacob with Made for More Ministries. Thank you so much for watching. Good night and have a great day.